Hello friends, welcome to Shri Netralaya. In this video, I will show you the technique to implant a 3-piece Sensar IOL from Johnson & Johnson through a single-piece cartridge from Johnson & Johnson. 3-piece IOL injection is a challenge for most of the surgeons. So let's see how to achieve this. The cartridge is filled with viscoelastic. IOL is held in position so that the leading haptic do not form the C-loop in the cartridge. You need to study the cartridge first. Cartridge is having two parts. First, it has a wide groove which is getting narrowed as it progresses. Then it has a lumen which has parallel running walls, and this is the place where you are supposed to implant the IOL. You can see the IOL marking over the cartridge itself. You are supposed to push your IOL till this point. Now watch very carefully how to load the first leading haptic of the IOL without forming the C-loop. I am pulling my optic towards left so that it should not form the C-loop and pushing it simultaneously inside, and using a downward force also while loading the optic of this IOL. Now once the IOL goes in position, you have a straight leading haptic, a folded optic and the straight trailing haptic. Now you have a perfectly loaded IOL in the cartridge. Now you can load this cartridge into the injector system. A snap into the cartridge will lead to a click sound, and that completes the loading of cartridge. Now this step is very important. I am using Sensar hook with my left hand to pull back the trailing haptic so that it straightens a bit, and the pusher plunger goes directly to the optic so that it engages optic at its edge. Now you have a very typical situation where your leading haptic is straight, trailing haptic is straight without getting engaged into the plunger, and plunger is engaged with optic of IOL. You can observe the IOL under the microscope for proper positioning. Now let's see how to implant this one. First, you need at least a 2.8 mm incision and IOL goes straight. With left hand, I manipulate my leading haptic so that it will not go directly to the posterior capsule or will not touch to the iris. And as soon as my optic goes in, I will rotate my hand towards right a bit so that leading haptic will form a C inside anterior chamber and goes directly into the bag. Keep pushing IOL optic forward so that optic is delivered into the anterior chamber. Now you have your leading haptic in bag, optic in the anterior chamber and trailing haptic still in the cartridge. At this point, use your left hand Sensar hook to support optic haptic junction so that the trailing haptic will not get caught in the cartridge, and pull back your cartridge, releasing your plunger. Now you can push a bit of viscoelastic and dial this trailing haptic into the bag with the help of Sensar hook. By rotation of IOL in the bag, you can confirm that both haptics are in the bag, and thus you can achieve a very good implantation of 3-piece Sensar IOL in the bag. Visco is washed away from anterior chamber and from below the IOL. Hope this modified implantation of 3-piece IOL will help you in your next case. I find this implantation is better than a company provided butterfly cartridge and also found that this method is easy and more controlled. Thank you and good day.